Good evening. Welcome to the Toon Review and the Transfer Show. Paul has just suddenly shot off there, but we will be in the Transfer Show. I don't know where he's gone.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, he's obviously changed his internet around or whatever he's doing. But tonight we've got a Transfer Show, I believe, and some latest news on Newcastle. And looking for, I guess, I don't know what else we're going to do. I mean, it's a Transfer Show, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the build-up to Forest. We've got an earlier fixture this week with it being on a Friday night. So, you know, I'm assuming preview tomorrow, sneaky transfer show tonight. And he's back. There he is.
Yeah, my mic decided to switch itself off. So, you know, it's just one of them things. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. Sorry to dub Billy in to do the intro there, but just as the intro finished, my microphone decided it wasn't playing anymore. So, unfortunately, had to start it up again, but never mind. We're here now. Good evening, everybody. It seems like a long time since we've actually been on air, but we're here now. That's the main thing. With the transfer show, and of course tomorrow night at 6 p.m. we've got the preview of the Forest game, which takes place on Friday night, which is a little bit strange, but looking forward to it, and then hopefully 3 points to enjoy the weekend with, because the last thing we want is to not win the game and go into the weekend in bad moods. But it is a very winnable game for us, and I think we will. Let's have a look.
We also don't have to cross the bridge about Chris Wood, because I think he's unavailable anyway. So
he can't. He's still apparently he is still on loan, Alex. So it's not made permanent till the summer, so he wouldn't be able to play anyway. Had he been fit, I think he's not fit anyway. But has he ever been fit?
If he'd have been fit, he definitely would have scored against us. If he could have played, which he can't. So
possibly. Tom says, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well and looking forward to the show. It feels like this week is flying. Wednesday night, and we're focusing on our next game less than 48 hours away. Indeed. James Pope, good evening to you. James Ellison says, good evening, everyone. Anyone got some epic pranks up their sleeve for an overzealous teenage son that needs teaching a lesson? He thinks he is well clever, and I'm wanting to get him big time. Oh, Jesus Christ! Well,
I've got one for you, James. I've got one for you.
Message Billy on Twitter, mate, and I'm sure he'll help you with that one. He's the man. He's the man to speak to. Wow, Spike Milligan, thank you very much. £50 super chat straight off the belt. Incredibly kind. Big donator to the channel is Spike. Evening, TTR family. Hope everyone's good. Missed TTR Friday when it was cancelled. Tried to find you at the Wolves game, but found Mr. Proudlock, who explained all. Sorry to hear about your daughter, and get her a get well gift from me. Thank you very much, Spike. Really appreciate that. It's been a really tough few days, actually. I had a bit of bad news at the doctor's yesterday, just about blood sugar, etc. So it's a kick up the ass for me to change my lifestyle big time, which I will be doing. Susan's putting me on a very, very healthy diet. And I need to start looking after myself a lot better than I have been. So, out goes the vapes, etc. And I'm back on lozenges, and I'm keeping it good. Lots of water.
I'll have to keep you away from the hot dogs at half time when I come up.
I don't eat hot dogs, mate. I've never had a hot dog in like 20 years or something. I just don't do hot dogs. Keith, thank you. Good evening to you. James says, nothing bad, Tom. He just thinks he's invincible and clever. Well, most kids do. They're going on about punishments. Dear me, I thought that people would have a few. Good evening, Ian A. Good evening to Mr. Spoons. Hope you're well. He's mint, actually. Done 3 hours exercise today, and he's broken. Wow. Good for you, matey. Good for you. Jacka says, evening team, hope everyone's well, and let's keep this winning streak going, and well done the lasses last night. Yeah, big game for the women last night against Durham Sestria. who are leading the division in the promotion spot, because there's only one can go up. And fantastic 1-0 win last night in what was only described as -3, I think the temperature was at one stage during the game. But a fabulous result for Becky's team, and it puts the league in their hands now, because they've got games in hand, and if they win them games in hand, they will win the league. And I think the final game is at St James's Park for the league. So hopefully celebrating a league victory and promotion, which is exactly where the girls want to be. John Green, good evening to you. Diane, good evening. Physics YT, good evening. Wes, good evening to you. Andre, hello. Huayin, Alex, pronounce that name for me, will you? You good at your mic's off.
Hyunjin Woo, I think.
Hyunjin. Not as far as we're aware. Nothing's been announced yet, but I would expect that to happen. Roger Cook, good evening to you. Cian, good evening. Carlos, good evening. God, there's so many people in the chat already. Andre says he's not 100% keen on the Mason Mount rumours. He's a decent player, but will cost far too much in transfer fees and wages. Well, there was a rumour today that he was asking for 240 grand, Billy, which that's slightly more than what we're willing to pay at the moment, I think.
You're asking the wrong bloke about Mason Mount. I'm not a fan.
He's not at all. He doesn't like him.
What is it about Mason Mount that you're not sure of, Billy?
I just think he's one of these players that kind of, they don't do an awful lot, yet they get praised to high heaven. And I think he's a fair player. He's a good player. He's got lots of ability, but I just think he's not as good as what everyone makes him out to be.
I just had a flash of a player then in my brain from the past. Do you remember Tom Cleverley when he was at Man United?
There's one. Yeah. There's another one.
As soon as he wasn't part of that really good team, useless. Yeah. Somehow got England call-ups. Absolutely useless.
Yep.
I'm not saying that's Mason Mount, though.
Well, no. Roblox in hope all as well. New sponsor will not be Saudi Air. They said it would be a new airline. Think it could be Riyadh. I'm not so sure it's going to be Riyadh. I think it will be Saudi Air. Because with Riyadh, the new airline that they've started, our chairman is chairman of that company. So I'm not sure that we can actually go down that avenue at the minute. We may well do in the future, but at the moment, I'm putting my money on Saudi Air or Saudi Airways, whatever you want to call it. And I've seen some lovely concept kits. I don't know whether you guys have on the internet. There's nice some stuff. Beautiful ones being created. And, I think... I read an article today about Castore. The new owners were really wanting to bring somebody else in, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen because, they can buy Castore out of the contract, but I think there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes with that, so we may have to hang on to Castore for the length of the contract, which I believe was 5 years. And then we can move on to something. I don't know how long have they had our strips for now? 3?
2 years. 2 years so far.
Is it only 2?
Yeah, they had the number 4 kit. The number 4 kit in this year's kit.
Oh yes, the wonderful number 4 kit. Oh God. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Cian, I believe that's how you pronounce your name, or Kian. Maybe it's Kian. Anyone else worried about Bruno? He's not himself lately. I'm not worried about Bruno at all. I think he's still out and about. I don't know whether anybody saw, but he went to a disabled five-a-side game at a leisure centre the other day, and actually came on and played around with the kids a little bit on the shooting the ball and passing it and things like that, which I thought was fantastic. The kids were absolutely overwhelmed to see him. It was brilliant. Alex, you're looking a bit confused.
My dog's trying to dig to China. I'm not quite sure why.
All right, okay. Well,
the bed is not diggable. You can't go through it.
Dogs. Jimmy, good evening. Hope you're well. Thank you for your message, matey. I really appreciate that. Geordie boy, good evening. Ian says, and your daughter's on the men, Paul. Yeah, looking forward to this one, lads. Yeah, she's back at hospital tomorrow, so fingers crossed. She gets another X-ray, then they'll take the cast off that she's got on at the minute and put a nice green one on for her that's a little bit lighter. She's done really well. Hasn't had any painkillers this week, which is incredible for the surgery she went through and the break she's had. But she's a trooper, an absolute trooper. And hopefully we get some good news tomorrow when we're there in the morning. Jody Hoeyman says, Mount is just a steady Eddie for me. We need someone more dynamic than him. Possibly, yeah. I mean, look, I used to like Mason Mount, I must admit. I thought he was a decent player. And I think when he got into the England side, I was impressed with him then. I just think, do you not think he's gone off the boil a little bit at Chelsea because of what's happened and the amount of players that have come in? Has that just upset the balance a little bit, do you think?
What are we talking to me? Because I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, with a thinned out squad, he got them through to a Champions League final with a very, very good little technical move and helped win the Champions League final. I think he's a top player. I think Billy's obviously entitled to his opinion, but I think that his struggles are not because there's not a good player there. I think there is a great player there. I agree with Billy in terms of he's not producing what everybody says he kind of is. I think he is massively overhyped, but I still think there's a really good player in there, for sure. It's just, Chelsea's an absolute dumpster fire at the moment with 20 odd signings. It's just ridiculous.
Well, we know you're a big fan of all the signings they've made, Alex. You've never made that secret.
I'm still shocked at it, even though the transfer window is closed. I was up to here and done, and then they made like another 4 signings after I was already done. I could not believe how far they went.
I know, it was quite funny.
They've not even finished because then Kunku technically is still to come.
Yep.
So, it's a
well,
joke.
he's been pictured with Chelsea shirts on, and I find that astounding.
Weird.
It's just crazy.
It's got to encourage. Well, it brings competitions into disrepute a little bit when you've got them in European competitions all together at the same time. It's weird. Imagine if Leipzig draw Chelsea. Obviously, they can't. They got smashed by Man City.
Yeah,
but,
that's gone now.
You never know what could have happened. It's weird. It's conflict of interest.
Absolutely. Mr. Reactions says, evening, gents. Growing my channel, a shout out would be appreciated. Love you guys. Been a fan since 300 subscribers. Well, there you go, Mr. Reactions. You have had your shout out, my man. I hope you do well. Tell Paul to pay his bills. Nout with the bills. Nout with the bills. Do you think we would have a chance at Cancelo after his loan deal at Bayern? Doesn't seem to like it. Doesn't seem to like he's getting game time there. He's not. It hasn't gone great for Cancelo over there.
We wouldn't get.
The way Man City played last night, they didn't really miss him. I mean, that was just a blistering performance. Very clever of Pep, though, wasn't it? I mean, not many managers would call out Haaland and De Bruyne as he would, because there'd be the way player power is these days, and but Pep has that kind of respect, doesn't he? Money in the bank kind of thing, and boy, did they turn up for him last night.
He's probably the only manager left who can do that. I mean, Mourinho tried it and got pushed out of Chelsea. So, who's left in the world that can do that and maybe get away with it?
Yeah.
Could Klopp, do that with Henderson and Van Dijk and Salah? Maybe not. But Pep's doing it. So,
well, he is, and he's doing it very well. But I love Pep. I think he's brilliant. Annie is very depressed at the moment. It's not going well for Bristol City.
What's going on?
Yeah, well, they're getting beat off Luton, I believe, at the minute.
Luton were in the playoffs last year, so yeah.
Yeah, it's not going well. Wood came on and off in 72 seconds at the weekend. Yeah, I think it was something like that. John wants to know if you think Shelby will play for Forest. Absolutely, 100% he will. He's played the last 4 games for them, and he's playing really well, apparently. So there's no way they're going to leave him out. Geordie Boy says, nice gesture from Forest to give Toon fans free food because of reception they got up here. Is this true? I've no idea. If I'm honest, I don't know. We'll check that out. KB says, good evening, Paul, Billy, Alex. Hope you're all marvellous. Gentlemen are well and cool. Jordan, that's a terrible thing, to prank your son with. I mean, tell your son he's adopted. I mean, that's a prank a little too far, I think. Wow. Tony says, I'm eating healthy too. I'd recommend one of those air fryers. They're great. Yeah, we've got one, Tony. I bought one a couple of months ago. Everything goes in the air fryer. Literally everything. And I tell you what, ham and cheese toasties out the air fryer. Oh, magnifico. Indeed. Shamrock, good evening to you. Alistair says, evening all, looking forward to Friday win and hope young one's okay. Thank you. I'll be looking forward to the show tonight. Chipper says, not sure Paul can see my comments. Well, it's there, so I can. Tom says, yeah, tickets seem to be selling well for the women's game on Sunday, April the 16th. I believe that is the last game of the season. So it's going to be a great day. James, I think you're thinking of the men's team, saying that the last game of the season, Stamford Bridge, that's the men. Could you imagine how that game is going to be, by the way, after the hatred that we have from Chelsea in the last two games? If we're playing for a top four spot on that last day of the season, that is going to be spicy. Really spicy. Hayden says, G'day from Australia. Garang Kuol was used as an impact sub at Central Coast Mariners, so it's no surprise he isn't starting games at Hearts yet. I'm not sure what to make of his loan yet. I mean, he hasn't exactly set the world on fire, Bill.
No, he hasn't. And impact sub is not really been used as that because he's coming on when they're 2 or 3 down with 10 minutes to go. So, yeah, I'm not sure it's working for him, to be honest.
Yep. JT says, I don't know who it was who gifted me a membership for the channel, but many thanks. It's a generous gesture. I don't get to see them, unfortunately. Because obviously I'm not on watching the YouTube chat. I'm watching the chat inside the streaming software, so I don't get to see it. But I know Keith Dice over in the States, he's gifted quite a few memberships lately. So whoever it is, thank you very much. It is incredibly kind to do something like that. Alex Smith says, will there be a TTR Saturday this week? No, we'll probably be doing the review at some point, the match review. But I don't, Saturday's normally a family day for us all, really. We normally like to have unless there's a match, of course, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Saudi Airways have sponsored an English F1 team. Yes, they have. 5 years of Castari. Oh, my God. Jordy Boy says, get Susan to sort the new kit design. Indeed. Tony says, Bastoria. Yeah, absolutely. Andre says, Aramco is an option. PIF only own between 4 to 6% of them. Aramco was first mentioned as soon as we got the takeover. Aramco was mentioned as the big company to sponsor Newcastle United. But, I don't think it's going to be Aramco. I think they're trying to bring other Saudi companies in rather than just obviously the huge one is Aramco. It's well known everywhere. But Keith says, just getting over a vicious midweek stomach bug has run through the whole family. Wouldn't recommend as a weight loss strategy. Being there, matey, not nice.
Me too.
There's some horrible bugs going around. Yeah, Billy had it at the beginning of the week. Bruno was great the other day after the day, and he's done a good interview recently. Foxy says, hey, Toon Review. Good to see you guys back. Hope everyone's well. Andre says, surely with Castoria, there should be like a competence question and possible breach of contract.
You think so?
They're awful. I mean, they're awful. They're just awful. The shirts. You know what it is, though? The replica shirts, the black and white ones, the one I bought, very tight on the arms. I mean, I know I've got massive muscles on the arms, but, it was very, very tight on the arms, right? And not, it didn't feel great on. But then I think Castoria, just before Christmas, they put the pro ones on sale that the players wear. And the fitting on that is just superb. It's so nice to wear. So I just think it's just cheap shit for the fans. And then, the arm fit's
a bit weird.
Yeah, but
I've got an XL on my arm fits too. It's a little bit tight in the gym, and I'm not exactly,
Hulk
built.
Hogan.
So anybody who actually trains regularly, it's not going to fit at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. But what they try to do, pay £65 for a peasant shirt or pay £110 or whatever it was for the pro shirt, which will fit you better.
Pete Davey and one. He'll have to get his arms adjusted, I think.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Ian. Much appreciated. Chipper says, regarding Mason Mount, if you can't make it at a rival club with Chelsea, a rival club, which Chelsea will be in time, then surely he is no good to us. I don't think it's that, Chippers. I just think it's the influx.
Really harsh.
He's been mismanaged at Chelsea, hasn't he? He's not had a chance this season, but
of course he has.
I just think he's had a downturn in form probably before this season. Last season for England, he was awful. When every time we played, he was picked. So I don't know. I just think he's just a tad overrated.
Well, Tony makes a good point as well. He suffers sometimes being put out on the wing. He's not a winger.
No. Yeah, they were playing a 4-2-3-1, and he was out wide in a 4-2-3-1 sometimes. With his striker being Havertz, who isn't a striker, and Lukaku, who was really struggling as well. It just didn't work. The only time it worked was when Tammy Abraham was actually still there.
Yeah. Neil says, I was starting yesterday with a queue. Its system gave a number of 1100s waiting since 9 a.m. for it to boot me, saying sorry for the inconvenience and tell me now they can do and to rejoin. Yeah, you're not the only one, Neil. I heard saw a lot of people kicking off yesterday about tickets, etc. Look, there's nothing they're going to be able to do about it until the summer. I just hope that in the summer they have a massive revamp of the ticket system. I think that's one of the things that they really need to take a good hard look at in the summer. Dan says, I'd take Mount, but we need a top tier number 6 and a left back before we go after a player like him. Chelsea hoover up more than a Dyson. We could send Fraser to Chelsea, I suppose. Physics is, how many players do you think we will sign in the summer? If so, who do you think we will sign? Hope you're all well and had a good week so far. Well, as to how many, no idea. Who? The world's our oyster. I have no idea for that either. For us to predict any players that are going to come to the club is pie in the sky. What we do on these shows, excuse me, is just looking at the players that are linked and talking about what they would bring to the club. We're not saying they're coming. We're not saying that the Newcastle are definitely interested. This is just media links to talk about and look at what they might bring to the club. Mason Mount has been talked about quite a lot recently. It's
impossible to predict players, isn't it? Because it's dependent on where we finish in the league, really.
Yeah.
If we finish 4th or 3rd, I think we'll be able to have a different set of players what we would if we finished 7th, for instance.
Yep. Apparently Sunderland's 1-1. Who are they playing tonight?
Sheffield United.
Yeah. Scotty says we could get Cancelo. They basically handed Zinchenko and Jesus to Arsenal. Alexis McAllister, of course, at Brighton. Could be off to City. That would make a surprise. Honestly. Jordy Howie says Walker Peters would be a good signing. I think Alex is. He's got to drop. He's coming back. It's just he's to share the screen. He's got to do a little bit of tinkering. I heard rumours Aston Martin may take some sort of sponsorship in the summer. That's the one. Sorry, PIF, largest shareholders in Aston Martin. Yep, absolutely they are. Dodd says Lucas Paqueta or Maddison. Maddison any day of the week. I really don't think that Paqueta's hit, start his Premier League career on fire. And I think we've got the better of the two, Billy.
But without any shadow of a doubt. 100%. Yeah, I'm not sure that the league is sort of, and it's certainly been at West Ham isn't helping him. Maybe it'd have been, well, I know for sure it'd have been a better fixture on our side than the West Ham's, the way they're playing this year and the system they're playing. But he played quite well against us, didn't he, to be fair to him?
Interesting. How's the screen sharing going, Alex?
Yeah, I think I've got it. Possibly. Okay. It's different on this computer, so...
I love the optimism.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Shane says,
that's worked.
yeah, it has. Forget Garan Kual. I'm all about Irakunda now. Irakunda? Who?
I think he's a new Aussie super kid, isn't he?
Yeah. He's the knee Roy guy that I've been researching. Yeah, he is. He's the one that
Indeed.
Shane told me to research.
Yeah. Sophia, good evening. Ronald, good evening to you. Tangy says, yeah, no bread. Lots of hidden sugars in breads, pastries, and other carbs. Yeah, I know. Toon Sean says, Isak has to start on Friday. Rare that Howe changes a winning team. Good point. But we'll talk about that tomorrow night. And here is our first player. And can anybody guess who it might be? Shiver me timbers. It's Mason Mount, Alex.
It is indeed. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and we'll have a proper little look and we'll see. So let's not forget, people, we want a number 6 or midfielder, and then we also let Shelby go. So theoretically, there's 2 spaces in that midfield. It depends what we want to do with Anderson, but we're also going to lose Richie, who occasionally kind of slide in. So 2 spaces. Could Mount fit in? 24 years old, qualifies as homegrown English, would help with the quota. A lot of experience at Champions League and Premier League level. Has played abroad as well at Vitesse. Has played obviously the Championship, so he's pretty well experienced for a 24-year-old. To be fair, good international experience as well. He is right-footed. We were talking about this the other day, how in our starting 11 against Wolves, Dan Burn was the only left-footed player on the pitch, and it would have kind of been nice to have somebody technical who was left-footed just help, cut a pass with a slightly different angle. But hey-ho, he's right-footed. It is what it is. So this season, 3 goals, 2 assists. Running a little bit cold on his goals. Should have scored 2 and he got an extra 1, but then it's reversed with his assists. Got 2 but should have had 3. So a lot less than he was on the previous season, which we'll have a look in a minute. A couple of assists in the Champions League as well, which is tidy. Let's go down and have a look at the important stuff, which is all of this lovely stuff. So Well, it gets better than this. It gets better because theoretically we're playing a 4-3-3. Obviously, we've discussed the option of how maybe changing up the shape, the formation, the system in the summer, especially with players like Gordon and stuff, and a lot of people talking about maybe a number 10 could be useful. He may move away from a 4-3-3, but let's, devil's advocate, let's pretend we're still going to play with 2 number 8s in a midfield 3, and let's swap him to a midfielder. It does get a lot better. So progressive carries is very tidy at 2.71. Very, very nice, actually. Touches in the attack and penalty area is very high. Progressive passes received is very high. He's good at a progressive pass as well, in the 76th percentile. Shot creating actions is super high for a midfielder. Shots is also crazy high for a midfielder. So really, really, really tidy there. And when you consider who he'd be playing in place of, would theoretically be Longstaff in that 8. So we may be losing a bit of that physicality / energy, although Mount's no slouch. We'd be trading it for a guy who's used to having a lot more possession, is in a lot more dominant team. He's a lot more technically gifted as well. He's not going to do as much sideways stuff as Sean does, although he's got a lot more assists this season than he's done in previous years. Mason Mount's technical level is way higher than Sean Longstaff's. He's a little bit younger as well. And if we go and have a look at his... Oh, hang on. Let me scroll down and show you his previous season, which is really, really important. I know Billy doesn't like him, but I want to highlight the fact that last year he got 11 goals, 10 assists. That's impressive. That's really impressive. So for the last, 4 seasons, well, not including this one, okay, the previous 3 seasons, he's got more than 10 goal contributions every single year for Chelsea as a midfielder. He's always available, 32 starts, 27 starts. And, is he enough to take us to the next level? We'll look at Chelsea's placings, 4th, 4th, 3rd. I mean, I wouldn't mind if we do that in the next 3 seasons. It means we've played Champions League football 3 years in a row. So in terms of his output, he does it in the Champions League and he does it in the Premier League. He consistently scores and gets assists in a real tough league. If we go over to his transfer market, Here he is. That's a lot of trophies. That's a lot of trophies for a 24-year-old.
He loves having these back, Billy, doesn't he? He loves having the graphics back.
I do. So a lot of people seem to be throwing around 70, 60 sort of million. His contract expires in the summer of 2024. So at the end of this season, he will have 1 year left. I don't think he's going to cost that much. I think if Chelsea quote anybody 70 million when he's got 1 year left, they're going to get told where to stick everything. That would be ridiculous. So it's a funny one. It's a real funny one because he would improve our squad depth. You know, he is better than somebody like Longstaff in terms of technical ability. He would improve the technical level of our midfield. He's young enough. He's homegrown. He ticks a lot of boxes. He's played in the Champions League. But again, it's that sort of how much would he cost? If we could get him at a reasonable price, again, I feel like it'd be very much an Anthony Gordon sort of situation where if we could get him for the right price, I think we'd go for him. I think he would be the sort of player that we'd look for profile-wise. But if they quote us anything above what we think is realistic, we'll just walk immediately. You know, the club have shown that if they're going to try and mug us off, we will just walk straight away. We're not playing silly buggers with money. So it could be an option with his 1 year left on the contract at the end of the season, but we shall see.
Interesting when you go down there, Alex, and look at the interested clubs.
Also,
Newcastle not mentioned. It's Liverpool, Man City, and Man United.
Well, this is only from transfer marks.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean,
if you look at his youth level as well, he's represented England all the way back to under 16 level. He's got so much experience for a 24-year-old. So much experience. It's insane.
Yeah, a lot of people are quite impressed with him, actually, but not for 240 grand a week. That's where the sticking point may be.
Yeah, well, I couldn't find wages on this stuff. I could find wages just in a standard Google search, but I can't attest to the authenticity of those. But I would imagine a Chelsea player, he probably was on a poor wage, and then he won the Champions League. He got his contract renegotiated in 2019, it said on Transfermarkt. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's around the 200k mark. Not at all. It might not be, but
well, I suppose if we do, make Champions League, then we're going to have to pay the big bucks. It's as simple as that. If we want to be a Champions League team, we're going to have to. Amanda's going about winning everything. Well, to do that, we're going to have to sign the best, and that would involve breaking the.
But as we've done with James Maddison, I think the transfer fee it could also be prohibitive. I think this summer we might break our wage structure. I think it's very possible. We might go up to 160, 170, 180k, but it's the transfer fee. Because with James Maddison, the club lodged 2 official bids. And as soon as Leicester would just hike in the price, the club just went, no, all right, we'll just wait then. Fine. So, if we bid 45 and Chelsea say no, we'll just walk away.
Yeah. David says, I've seen that we are linked with McAllister from Brighton this week. Would be a great signing, surely, and a World Cup winner. I think he would be a great signing, but I've never seen those links. And I think you've got to be careful with some of the links because some of the sites that report these are just clickbaity sites, and you have to just sort of take with a pinch of salt sometimes. But listen, Alexis McAllister, very, very good player, proved that in the World Cup. And for us to sign a World Cup winner would be fantastic. KT says, I don't like Mount either, Billy. He is meh. Type of player that Gareth Southgate likes. No thanks.
But I just don't understand how you can be meh and get 21 goal contributions in the Premier League. Like, who does that?
Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of Mason Mount, and I think, Jackie says here, Maddison over Mount for me, and there's Victor Osimhen again. He gets mentioned nearly every transfer.
Well, he scored tonight already.
Yeah. Could we afford to have Mount and Maddison?
I think you'd find it hard to fit both in the same team, wouldn't you?
It's probably one or the other.
Yeah, that's the problem with that.
If we're so rumoured to be going for a 6, then I don't understand how we get Maddison, Mount, and a 6, and a left back, and a forward. No.
Tangy says Willoquinho will be better than Mount in years to come.
Different players.
Dave wants to know if we offered a contract to the Jamaican lad who was on trial but then went to Chelsea. I don't think we ever did. Certainly, the club haven't come out and said that we offered him we offered him a contract and he chose to go to Chelsea. Nothing's been said. All we know is that he had a decent trial at Newcastle, but then a couple of days after his trial ended, he was pictured taking photos of at Chelsea. So,
well, there's a lot of people saying that we just got pipped by Chelsea. Well, we don't know the details. Maybe we just didn't want to sign him. Like, who knows?
Well, that is a possibility, isn't it? That we just didn't want to sign him. I mean, it just although he had what has been reported as a successful trial, doesn't mean that we were going to sign him. Just he was there for us to have a look at, and it didn't happen. Max says Mason Mount is class, would be a great player for us. At the age of 24, Madison Mount would be great. I think
Madison's 26, remember, as well. So he's 2 years older than Mount.
I mean, look, yeah, but you could play one in the middle, one out wide. I mean, Madison could go out wide, couldn't he? He's played there before.
Madison could do what Miggy's doing right now for sure.
Yeah.
Because Madison's very left-footed and very technical, so he would play in a similar way to what Miggy does. I doubt Madison would want to be bombing to the byline to do right-footed crosses, so it wouldn't change too much of how we play anyway.
Chipper says ASM or Mount, Alex. Oh, I think they're completely different players. They're completely
so
different.
Random.
Chippers, I think you're trying to get a reaction. Nice try.
It's like Shearer or Given. What's the point in comparing them?
Yeah, very, very different players, guys. Very different players. We should offer Marcus Thuram a boatload of money since he is going on a free.
Yeah, but I think everybody else is offering him a boatload of money as well. That's the problem.
Maybe not Barcelona. Niall says, any more lads from the Jamaican Observer sources? I don't know.
We lost our only link, so
yeah,
no.
I know. Yeah, damn that honestly, damn that reporter, damn him. Okay,
I'm just so annoyed that they got Andre Santos. I literally watched like 4 of his matches prepping for transfer shows, and he's gone to Chelsea. I'm so annoyed. Whenever I see any Chelsea people out in the wild and they talk about him, I'm like, I've watched a lot more of that kid than you bloody have. It's really annoying.
Out in the wild. It's not a safari park, Alex. It's
it is round here
world
with these big 6 clubs.
Oh well, yeah, but listen, you live in Northampton, mate. The problem is, who've they got to support down there? Northampton
Manchester
Town,
United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. That's who they support down here.
NUFC Ollie says if we could only sign for one position for the starting 11, what do you think it would be, Billy?
Left back.
Yeah, gotta be a left back, innit? Gotta be.
Well, yeah. Well, we know Alex's feelings about our left back situation at the minute. But yeah, I think left back is a position that we need somebody who is, a kind of. I mean, I'll just pick a name out the air. One of my favourite left backs has always been Andy Robertson at Liverpool. I think he's tremendous. Luke Shaw to a degree as well. He's a very good left back.
If we put Alphonso Davies at left back, we get top 4, 100%.
Well, yeah. Well, yes, Alex. Alphonso Davies, yeah. No doubt about it. Jordy Howieman says, Dembele from Barca is at the Mackems game tonight. I think he's got the wrong stadium of light.
We must do.
Well, true.
Yeah, but I think you'll think he's at a reserve game, won't he? Because, all those empty pink seats, you'll be thinking, where the hell have I arrived here? What's going on here? Unless he's coming to chat with us tomorrow and he's just taking in a game tonight, you just don't know, do you? You just don't know. James says, do you not think Paqueta would be a different beast under Eddie? I think anybody would be a different beast under Eddie, to be honest, and possibly yes, but I think that ship's sailed now for me. Paqueta, he's at West Ham. He's not going to be at Newcastle anytime soon, and yes, he's great friends with Bruno. But were we ever really interested in Paqueta? I don't think we were, not according to the club. We made initial inquiries, brief inquiries, and that was it. There was no, I think it was more fan-led than anything else for Paqueta, to be honest. Sven says, if we get into Europe, FFP means nothing to us, really. Well, Champions League, maybe. We need the Champions League income more so than anything else, I think. Kate says Maddis is right-footed, isn't he? I thought he was as well.
Is he?
Have you heard a story, Alex? I'm pretty sure Madison's right-footed.
Let me have a look. I could be wrong.
Pretty sure he is.
I mean, I've seen him score with his left foot.
Well, yeah,
that doesn't mean he's left-footed.
Yeah, he can hit.
Madison is right-footed. I stand corrected. I am wrong. Why do I think he was left-footed?
I don't know. You've had a mare. Scotty says, money talks, but projects talk too. I will always prefer the project players. John says, Mount reminds me of Genie, who looked average with us and far better in a team with lots of possession and creates chances at will in Liverpool a couple of seasons ago. Genie didn't look average with us. I thought Genie looked really good, apart from the away games. He seemed to go missing away from home. I think that was the major problem with Genie. But I don't know, was that getting used to English football? I don't know. He went to Liverpool, had a fantastic career there.
He was a great player. He captained PSV to the Eredivisie before he came to us. He's got pedigree. He's always had pedigree.
Max says, we will link with Sander Berger in January. Are we still interested? I very much doubt we'll go in for him in the summer. I think that was to probably, we were looking for a loan deal, weren't we, for Sander Berger, and it didn't. That
was the midfield version of the Chris Wood deal. I think we were just trying to get something in.
Yeah, I mean, look, he wouldn't have been too bad, I don't think, but nah. Dave says, agree, Alex. Watch Santos and was convinced we were going to get him. Still think a lot of young players signing for Chelsea will regret it.
So good. He's so good, Andre Santos, honestly. He's generational. He's ridiculous. He's insane.
Yeah.
He might not even get proper games at Chelsea. It might ruin his career. I mean, look how good Kennedy was. Does anybody remember that game against Spurs on the second time we got him?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like just ball rolling past the entire team, and then he just forgot how to play football. It was bizarre.
I remember the one at Cardiff. Christ.
Oh.
Is that the worst ever performance you've ever seen from a Newcastle United player?
Oh, dear. Well,
it's got to be one of them.
It's up there, Billy. Alfonso Davies would be amazing, says Scotty. Shame he would be back up to Big Dan Byrne. Scotty, I'm pleased you put laughing emojis there. Dembele is sat with Sunderland's chairman, Wurzel Gummers. Yeah, they're good pals, apparently. Shelby apparently twisted an ankle in training. We'll see about that. John says, left back, give over, lads. We couldn't hit the barn door for the last 6 to 7 weeks.
We scored 2 goals.
Absolutely.
Against a really poor Wolves side of the back 4 who panicked and went to a back 5.
Yeah. Oshiman's got 2 now, apparently. Toon fan says, Paqueta is shite. Foxy says, Andre Santos to Chelsea was painful. Just hope they don't sign Kedri Payas next. And he says, Madders is definitely right-footed. Scored a few top free kicks with his right foot. Alex, what do you know about... Annie, what do you know about top free kicks? You're watching Bristol City get pummeled by Luton Town.
To be fair, I did have a look at that at the start of the show. They're losing 1-0 to Luton, who are 4th in the Championship, who have the same amount of goals as Bristol and have conceded 10 fewer goals. Luton aren't a bad side. I wouldn't be upset to be losing to 4th place. It's not a problem. You're allowed to lose to teams at the top.
Try telling Bristol City fans that, Alex.
If we lose to Man City, I'm not going to cry about it. Most teams lose to Man City, it's fine.
Man City you can't put Luton Town and Manchester City in the same bracket, please.
Yeah, but a team that's been in the playoffs 2 years on the trot are a better team than the ones in the mid-table.
Luton seem to improve every season. I just hate the football ground. Kenilworth Road is just a disaster. It's an absolute, to go in the away end, you've got to go through somebody's frigging back garden. I mean, what's that all about? Andreas says Madison can play with both. I am a Leicester fan.
I've definitely seen him score some Juan Mata sort of curvy left foot. I've seen him do some outrageous things with his left foot as well. Maybe that's why it's in my head.
Possibly. Genie scored 11 goals in his debut season with us, space bar. Ollie says we need an Esprit to link up with Isak.
But
the thing is with Esprit, although he was fantastic, he did go missing a lot. Let's not forget that. I mean, he's a legend at this club, but he did go missing an awful lot at Newcastle. Alex, he did.
Our expectations are higher. That we all think that we've had low expectations. I disagree. People remember Wijnaldum as being, slightly underwhelming and going missing. He scored 11 goals from midfield. 11.
Yeah, I know.
That's not underwhelming. That's really good considering
I like Genie. Well, he did score. Did he get? What was it? 4 in one game against Norwich.
He did get 4 against Norwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he still got 11 over the course of a season. You don't get double figures as a midfielder unless you're a good player.
Did you see the Toon news channel today? Karius going to AC Milan. Yeah, there's been rumours about that. But if you're talking about that Newcastle United news channel, what can I say, Clive? You must have been bored because some of the stories that they put up on there are absolutely, well, to say ridiculous is an understatement. I don't know who does that channel, but
all the silly voices. Yeah, we are.
I think so. Yeah, it's like bit stuff. It's ridiculous. Ian says pointless any kids signing for Chelsea as they're not going to get any time in the Premier League and be farmed out until they sell for a profit. Spacebar says Fumaca was the only Brazilian that couldn't play football. Oh, God. Jesus. Annie says you should have watched that performance in the first half. Dismal. Jimmy says Bristol City is meh. Jared Bourne is a player that would be a decent signing for us. That's never going to happen. I'm sorry. He was going to come and then it didn't happen. And I don't think that will happen again. I think you mean Brennan, not Brendan Tangy. Brennan Johnson would definitely take him for squad depth, for trophies, etc. Eddie Howe could do wonders with it. I like Brennan Johnson. I think he's going to be a very, very dangerous player to watch on Friday night. And I believe he plays on the right, so he'd be going against Dan Burn, won't he? Unless
if he plays, he's doubtful, isn't he?
Yeah, well, 11 players are doubtful, I think, for Forest. But they have got two other 11s. Absolutely, yeah. So they can bring in anybody. Right, who's next, Alex? It is Folarin Balogun.
Folarin Balogun. I'm going to say it in an American accent because he was born in the USA.
Alex, why is your screen all strange?
Is it strange? It's because I've moved it. Let me full screen it.
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
Can you see it better now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pour cold water on this straight away and say he's Arsenal's, so it's probably a no, but we've been linked, so we're gonna look at him because he's a really good player. So he is from Arsenal, but he's on loan in France. So he went to Rem. I can't do the funny French R. Who obviously everybody jumped ship from them last year, so they needed some more young players. And Arsenal kindly loaned him out, and he's an absolute tank. He's got 16 goals in Ligue 1 in 2,000 minutes. He's actually running cold. He's not overperforming. He's actually underperforming with 16 goals. He should have closer to 18 with his XG there, which is ridiculous. Still 21 years old. Good build, 5'10", 73 kilos. He's not tiny. If you scroll down and have a look at his stat matches as well, you've got Nketiah on there, Marcus Thuram, who everybody's talking about, Vlahovic, who we may look at. Jonathan David as well has actually picked up from his goal drought from last year.
Quick goal alert, guys. Quick goal alert. Sheffield United have taken the lead at the Stadium of Sheffield. Carry on. So,
yeah, he carries some really, really interesting stat matches here with Osimhen on here, Immobile, Jonathan David, some really, really good players on here. If we go and have a look at his scout report.
And Danny Ings.
And Danny Ings. Yeah, I didn't say Danny Ings. We're not talking about Danny Ings. So progressive passes received is really, really high. Well, to be expected. He's a striker. And just really well-rounded. For somebody at his age, very, very well-rounded. High shot volume. Shot creating actions isn't quite as good, but that's more of when you help other people. So, he's trying to do it himself. So his shot volume's nice and high. Progressive carries is okay. Take-ons is all right. Again, I've only seen this kid play a couple of times, but because we've been linked, I've had a look. So as you can see, Arsenal all the way through from 16 years old to 16, 17, all the way up there. Middlesbrough, I didn't see him at Middlesbrough. I have seen him play at Rennes because he's drawn a lot of attention in the last few months, and has been absolutely banging them in. So if we have a look at his transfer marked, here he is. So he was born in New York.
Yeah.
So, but he does have English citizenship. So if we were to sign him, I don't think he'd be an issue with registering foreign players.
Well, it wouldn't if he's got the citizenship. If he's got a dual passport, it wouldn't matter either.
Yeah,
to be honest with
exactly.
you, he probably will have.
So centre forward, left winger. I mean, we have.
I'm sorry. I've just seen his middle name.
Jerry.
Jerry. I mean, that's not an American name, really, is it? I mean,
Jerry.
Following Jerry Balogun. I wonder if he's got a brother called Tom. That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm here all week, guys. Carry on, Alex. Sorry.
Or Ben.
Ben.
So the important thing here is obviously when his contracts are running to. So obviously his contract in France is until the summer, so he's on a 1-year loan. His contract with Arsenal expires in the summer of 2025. So when he goes back, he'll still have 2 years. So Arsenal are going to go from strength to strength because at the end of this season, they're going to get this lad just drop straight back into their squad at pre-season, who is rather good, to be fair, a very, very good promising prospect. I mean, Nketiah's had a much better season this year. So Balogun's going to go back to Arsenal and strengthen them unless they decide, they got Trossard, it strengthened them in January. So if Arsenal just decide, they're going to go out and get Osimhen, or they're just going to throw a lot of money at somebody big, they might get rid of somebody up front. They've just given Henry's number to Nketiah, so it would be a bit weird for them to get rid of him straight away as soon as they've given him the number 14. So this kid may or may not be available. I think it's very unlikely. I mean, the fact he's on 34,000 a week, the wages are okay, but it could be expensive potentially. He'll have, when he goes back, he'll have 2 years left on his contract at reasonable wages. And Arsenal might consider us rivals at that point in the summer. It could get complicated, but it's been rumoured, so it's fun to have a little look. I don't think it's very likely, though.
Well, we'll see. We'll see his time. I mean, look,
even if we don't get him, it's good to know who this kid is because he's likely to appear in the Premier League next year, and then you guys will all be like, "Oh, I know that kid because we looked at him on the transfer show, and he's really good." So
well,
yeah, he's really good.
I wouldn't exactly go that high, Alex, in my voice, to be honest. But I'd go, yeah. I wouldn't sort of go all Aled Jones on it, but never mind. Clive says, "What about Ward-Prowse from Southampton? If Southampton go down, then Ward-Prowse will definitely move. I'm under no doubt about that. But would he come to Newcastle, Billy, or do you think there'd be other teams in for him? Or would you have him at Newcastle?"
I think if you can play him in the 6th role, maybe. I don't see him as number 8 for us. I don't see him doing the press and shit like that. But yeah, he's good. He's a hell of a player. We all know he's a great player. Might be a little bit too old. Is he 27, 28 now? Maybe a bit older. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems to be around forever, doesn't he?
7. Can't remember.
Seems to be around forever. Yeah, good player. Hell of a player. Of course he is. But whether he fits into our system or not, I tend to doubt.
Foxy says, Will Still, what a story. Ream's on fire this season. Yeah, we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. They get fined £22,000 each time they play because he doesn't have the pro license.
It's become a meme on Twitter now because people are bored of hearing about it because every single week people repost it. It's another week Will Still there and haha.
But he's doing incredibly well considering he learned everything off Football Manager.
Apparently that's not true.
He was on Good Morning Britain this morning, yeah. He's
interesting. And maybe he's just embarrassed about it.
French is really good as well. I've heard him mic'd up in training sessions and stuff. His French is immaculate. He was
born in Belgium, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, that'll be why then.
My French is immaculate, but I don't manage a French team. You just walk in the dressing room, you go, ha, ha. Oui, oui, bonjour, je m'appelle, blah, 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 blah.
Your name is blah, blah, blah.
You what?
You just said your name is blah, 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 blah.
I know I did. He was on TalkSport earlier on and said that he's doing his badges. They've stopped finding the club. All right, okay. So really making a name for himself. That's good. Look, he is making a name for himself and really good, actually. I mean, do we class him as an English manager? If he was born in Belgium, I'm not sure. Prowse is 28. Aren't we wanting to bring the average age down? Yeah, but we can still have a few experienced players. We don't want to get to, youth. Sometimes you can never win things with youth.
Yeah, but you've got to remember the age profile of our midfield is not bad. It was we did have age profile issues in the squad, but overall the midfield was quite healthy. We had, obviously not now, but at the start of the season or when Eddie Howe took over, we'd got Willock was still 23, Longstaff was 24 at that point, Joe Linton was 25, Bruno came in at 24, I think. So the profile of all the midfielders was really, really good. It was the problem was at the back where Kieran Clark was 30, Cher was 30, the Selves was like 28. Who else did we get rid of? Fernandez was like 32. Everybody was over 30, and we were panicking a little bit. Whereas we've kind of started to fix that with Botman's like a child.
And we'll fix it. We will fix that more in the summer when the likes of Richie.
The 28-year-old wouldn't destroy the midfield age profile.
Not a chance. George has better options. I feel like James Ward-Prowse offers that one special thing in set pieces. Yeah, I actually agree with him about that. Chipper says Ward-Prowse would be big for us considering we have been awful with set pieces. Yeah, so you can look at it that way as well. But I think that'll improve soon as well. It's got to. Our set pieces have got to. Right, Alex. This is the last one.
Yeah. So I mean. The wage. I mean, I want to talk about the player, but just look at that wage before we even say anything else.
Yeah,
€249,000. Ouch, and that is outrageous. That's double, pretty much double what our top earners on. So I don't know about this one. The reason we're looking at it is because he's linked, and also Juventus are kind of in a bit of trouble. And they may have to lose a bunch of players at the end of the season. They got, I think, what was it again? This was a couple of months ago. I've lost my my memory of what happened. I think they're getting investigated for some dodgy books, and the money's not quite there, and everything's going a bit wrong. Yeah, well, it's happening again. So there's a lot of belief that they may have a bit of a fire sale in the summer. So it may or may not happen. We'll see. If it happens, then this could be somebody who jumped ship. He's only just gone there. So this was somebody that we were looking at, not in the January just gone, the one before that. We looked at Nunez before Liverpool got him in the January. We looked at Vlahovic, well, supposedly. 23 years old now. He is a left-footed striker, so there we go. He's definitely left-footed because I can see it written down. So the contract is unfortunately running until 2026. So I just don't see how this happens unless Juventus are really in a lot of trouble and have to just slash everything to get deals done. Not a crazy amount of output this season, but it is only from 1,400 minutes. So 8 goals, 2 assists is fine. To be fair, it's pretty good for 1,400 minutes. You're not going to get much better than that. Champions League and Europa League this season. If we scroll down, we can have a look. So he is matching some very, very tasty players there with Haaland in third. So Patrick Schick, I'm a very big fan of as well at Leverkusen. I know Paul's got a Leverkusen shirt. He's very, very good. Immobile is exceptional for Lazio, has been for many years.
Number nine.
Oh, he's got Callum Wilson on there as well. I mean, I know Callum Wilson's having a bit of a lull. Ollie Watkins. I know Wilson's having a bit of a lull at the moment, but statistically, Wilson is insane. He's been great for quite a long time. So holds very, very good company. I swear to God, Marcus Thuram is on everybody's stat match. It doesn't matter if I look at a goalkeeper, Thuram is just somehow on there. It's ridiculous. So statistics are very, very well spread. But again, he's not that sort of, he's not going to press. He's not going to do crazy take-ons and dribbles and this and that. He's just a big piece of meat who is very clinical. And he was that at Fiorentina before he moved to Juventus. I don't know if anybody remembers him in that purple kit. 18 months ago at Fiorentina. He went on some crazy goal scoring runs, scoring some ridiculous goals from all over the pitch. So his shots total, which is what you want from your big man up front, is nice and healthy in the top 15% at 3.4 per 90. Touches in the attacking penalty area is okay, nice and healthy, and progressive passes received is nice and healthy. I wouldn't worry too much about the defensive statistics or any of this, because that's not his job. His job is to be the big meaty person up front and do all the things. So if we have a look at his career, so in the Serbian Superliga with Partizan Belgrade, he's actually born in Belgrade as well, and then Italy, so Fiorentina for a long time. So what was his crazy season? It was 17, so 21 goals and 17 goals. So he put up 2 good goal scoring seasons. It's not like he was a flash in the pan with the one. He actually did it 2 years on the trot with a good goal return. And then Juventus picked him up for silly money. I think they paid 70-80 odd million for him, if I can remember rightly. It was something crazy. Transfermarkt, and I know how you like to look at who we're linked with on Transfermarkt, Paul. So if I scroll down, we are actually on his Transfermarkt as an interested club. Ooh. So Transfermarkt seem to think there is something in this. So it's not just random links. Serbian national team as well. The Serbian forward line is ridiculous. You can essentially have a 4-4-2, and if you want to, you can have Vlahovic and Mitrovic up front, and then you can have Tadic just wandering around. Like, the Serbian national team is criminally underrated. They are hilariously good. So lots of national team experience, lots of goals. What else we got? So we've talked about contract expiring in 2026. There's not really much else on here that we need to talk about. He's just a really good player. Again, super, super young at 23 years old. It just depends on...
a lot to offer.
Yeah, it just depends on this Juventus fiddling the book situation. If it all goes, tits up for them at the end of the season, there could be the opportunity for 4, 5, 6 players from Juventus to jump ship, reduce transfer fees possibly. There may be an in for this guy, but we're not going to be the only ones who want his signature. I know Arsenal have always been very heavily linked with him in the past. A lot of the fans really like him. So... It would be great. I mean, having Vlahovic and Isak as our 2 rotation strikers would be absolutely filthy. That would be very, very top tier.
Well, it's certainly something to think about. But there you go, guys. That is the transfer show for tonight. Quick hour of looking at some very decent players that we have been linked to in the media. But again, this is just the media. Obviously all the fun and games will kick off when the window reopens in the summer. All the in the nose they'll be back from out under the rocks with all the fake reporting and stuff like that. So that'll all happen again in the summer. But like we said on here, we'll announce things when the club announce things. But a lot to be excited about, because I think it is going to be a very, very big summer for Newcastle United. Wherever we finish in the league, it is still going to be a big summer. We need to get players out. We need to get players in. We need a big squad, and I think we're gonna do that. But there you go. It's very quick show tonight, an hour. But there you go. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you again to Spike for the massive super chat earlier on. Really kind, buddy. And of course, thank you for watching tonight. Thank you to the mods as well. Absolutely fabulous. We'll be back again tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Thursday night shows are now at 6 p.m. At an earlier time for the Forest preview. And do we have graphics tomorrow night, Alex? Do you think we'll have graphics?
It's possible if Amazon if Santa Amazon turns up, maybe we'll see. Although if I don't know if anybody felt it went okay with the way I'm doing it tonight. Obviously, it's easier to do graphics.
That's because you have my old computer that is a beast.
Yeah, well, it looked like it worked fine. So to be fair, even without the new cables, I might be able to get away with it. So we might be able to see some nice pitch side views.
All those fans that have missed the pitch graphics and everything like that, just hit us up at 6 o'clock tomorrow. And of course, we'll give you our predictions. Not that they're ever right, but we'll try. And of course, our predicted team lineups. Again, we will try. And then, of course, the watch along with myself on Friday evening. from the City Ground in Nottingham. So a lot to look forward to in the next couple of days on the Toon Review. We'll get a few videos out as well, hopefully over the next couple of days, and start looking out for the shorts as well, because I'm going to start uploading some shorts, whether that's sort of a funny moment on one of the shows or things like that. We're going to be doing that as well. So keep your eyes peeled. Thank you to Billy and Alex, and we will see you once again at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your night, guys. See you tomorrow.
How were the lads and lasses?